Hello, and welcome to today's daily devotional that comes from the book of Job. Job is described as a man who was blameless and upright, who feared God and shunned evil. But sadly, calamity was to befall him. In one day, he received a series of bad news. His servants had been killed, his animals had been stolen or destroyed, and a desert storm had demolished the house, crushing his sons and daughters. Poor Job. How does he react? Well, our verses are found in chapter 1, verses 20 and 21. At this, Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head. Then he fell to the ground in worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." I wonder if you've ever felt like Job. This year there's been such a lot of bad news. We might not be thinking of tearing our clothing or shaving off our hair, but we may still have experienced that same ache and the desolate sense of loss, wondering how suffering can fit into God's eternal plan. Our old friend at church, Pauline Lindsay, used to say that at times God pulls back the curtain, as it were, to give us a glimpse of the eternal world beyond what we can see with our human eyes. The book of Job does just that and lets us see how God is in control and working his purposes out. Despite Job's sorrow, he is true to his faith, and he's able to fall to the ground in worship of God and in praise of his name. He recognizes that he came into the world as a helpless baby, and he will take nothing with him when he dies. All that he has enjoyed has come from God, and his confidence in him is unshaken. So how do we face suffering? Well, Job's three friends respond by sitting in silence with him, the right place to start. Their presence was more comforting than their words, as they shared in his sorrow and drew alongside him. Job, in all his reflections, asks lots of questions, and his opinion of himself begins to shrink as his understanding of God expands. He begins to appreciate how God is almighty, far and away above humanity, but also near. He hears and he cares. God challenges Job. Where was he when God made the world, light and darkness, wind and rain, the constellations, the wild creatures? Is Job God's equal, that he can call him to account and question his ways? Job accepts that God is far, far greater than we are, and he has his purposes in the world that we know nothing about. Job's questions remain unanswered, but he knows he can trust even when he doesn't understand. And it's only in the New Testament that we find an answer to some of Job's deepest questions, where we see on the cross the suffering of Jesus, the only man who knew no sin, and in his death we have the hope of resurrection. So I pray that today we will be inspired by Job's example. Whatever our questions and the sufferings that we may face, let's pray that we might rise to the challenge to trust even when we don't understand, and to be able to say the same as Job, may the name of the Lord be praised. Have a good day.